Alright, man. I want to start by saying all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Harakah, Kadash, double honors unto the apostles and elders, great and all well. And shalom to the whole full elect.
Shalom.
Back here another week. And you got a lot going on right now. Especially over there in the land of Afghanistan. Alright, a land that's it's never let up with the term like war in terms of warfare. It's always active, and right now this is the build up. We're seeing a build up, Lord willing, through the spirit to World War III. Alright? Because now what you have is a power grab, a jousting for position in that land mass, right, between Russia and China, and also the land of America, right, which is known as Babylon the Great. You have them basically in contention. You say they recently came out and said Russia and China are basically looking to work with the Taliban, and they even had the Taliban on the news in the UK, I think, and even America. They had like a spokesperson on there. So you're seeing crazy shit that you never would have thought happened before happening now. And also it came out with Polite that he's been laying down with his wife's daughter, who's 14 years old, or what would be deemed a minor. And you could say there's a lot of hypocrisy in that if these allegations are true. Alright? And this is what's going on. This is what we're in the midst of right now. Also, you had Tazariak basically come out and say that apparently he's had the vaccine. So you got a lot of things going on alongside with different things going on in the world with the Heavenly Father speaking tropical storms down in the land of Jamaica. Alright, you got different things going on with flooding. I just saw it just now, flooding in. It's escaped me, man. There was somewhere that's flooding. I want to say Spain, but I can't remember right now. But it's going off right now, and it's because
There was one in Turkey and
shit.
I think like yesterday. It's all over because I think I don't know, mostly around Europe. I have to double check.
But that's basically what we're in the midst of. We're in the midst of the Heavenly Father showing Himself, right, to the people.
Oh well, yes. There's one in Germany.
China. That's where it was. It was in China. Monstrous tests has befallen China, evacuation. Yeah, so you got different things happening, man, all over the earth right now.
Said a bridge got swept away. Yeah, Turkey as well. Apparently Sweden. Yeah, Jesus. Man, catch it. It's
Tornado in Germany.
It's the time, man.
Yeah.
It's the time, because this is where it's judgment. Esau's throwing at. It's funny as well, because that's why it's like these things. It could be orchestrated by these elites. By the use of harp. It's just before the the most recent wave started kicking off. They had I believe it was the UN came out with like a climate change warning thing, I guess, where they said like, oh, it's almost hit a point where it's irreversible, great change is going to be needed. And that feeds into that great reset where they'll say, like, oh, now we've got an opportunity to change how we do all these things, blah, blah, blah. And, a chance to save the environment is part of what they're saying. And then you go to the Georgia Guidestones, it's got the maintain humanity under 500 million. And they said, what, in accordance to nature, in accordance with nature or something like that. So it's, that's part of the justification of where, that's what they've been saying, like, oh, there's too many people. And then saying like, oh, people need to voluntarily get sterilized and whatnot, and people need to stop having kids. It's basically a lot of these dystopian ideas. It's a good way to grab for them to be like, hey, look, they say climate change. There's too many people, it's impacting the planet. We need to do X, Y, Z. and that's the reason why. But then either way, it's through the spirit of Yah and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Hashem Kadash. He's basically made it a time where all kinds of hell is going down. And it's funny because like Haiti's got the encore, and then you consider that earthquake in Haiti was, that shit was world ending. And then they got encore, and it's like consider like the impact the earthquake tsunami had in Japan as well. So these things are like world changing as far as impacts on the people in the world. But then what? This is just a lead up. There's more to come. Jeremiah 30 and 5. For thus saith the Most High, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Yeah, the men are basically becoming as women, man. The men are looking like pregnant women when their water's about to break, or when their water's just broken, man. They're getting what's the word? Contractions. I think that's a word.
Yeah.
And the pain's kicking in.
Birthing pains.
Can. That's what. It's men are in that state. That's the gravity of what's going down, and that's why it's like you consider it's those people in the Burma mission Afghanistan. There was videos of people that were trying to hang off the U.S. military planes that were leaving. People running on the what the hell is it called? Not tarmac. The runway. That's the one. People running on the runway, grabbing on the tires, grabbing on the wings, trying to hang on like Tom Cruise, and then just dropping out the sky. Like that's how much people are losing their mind to get out of that situation, because that's how peak it is. And that's just one land, and that's something where it's gonna become a normalized level of terror and hell and danger. It says what? It says, ask ye now and see whether alas, verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Yeah, that time of Jacob's trouble. And that's where the that Maxine comes in, that Mark comes in. Because these things are what? That's the pinnacle of the danger that's gonna come. Because all this, it's just like with now, where it's basically been marketed, that Max has been marketed as all this, they went through the lockdown, whatever, not being able to go out, not being able to go to the clubs, not being able to go on holiday, not all those vices that were basically keeping people sane in hell, they've been weaned off them. I don't even know if people are able to get fucking drugs and shit like that. The people that were snorting fucking coke every weekend, them guys is probably peak. Says what? That's all the that happened. Then they said, hey, look, you get this thing, get this Max, and it's good. Everything goes back to normal. And then you've got a little honeymoon. Here in the UK, at least, you had they pushed it back by a month, but they had it for a little while now. You kind of have the run of town, but then by September they said it. Apparently they'll looking to change it, but we'll see. But they're saying by September you need to jump on the Max to maintain the ability to go to football games, go to the club, go to whatever, go to concerts, certain things, maybe restaurants as well, pubs, who knows. But that's what apparently is that's what's being pushed out. And hey, this is a dry run more or less of how it's going to be with the mark, because the mark is going to be like, okay, look, access to certain funds, access certain places, being able to do certain things, being able to keep your job. All these things are going to be linked to that. And that's why it's going to be that time of trouble. And then that's where it's going to be, that's going to be the main testing ground, man.
I was saying, because you mentioned about the heart, and basically the heart, even if Esau is using heart, guess what? Esau is known, according to Psalms the 17th chapter, he's known as the sword of the Heavenly Father. So the Heavenly Father gave him that technology to utilize it in accordance to his will. Alright? So anything that's happening right now is according to the will of the Heavenly Father. And that's why these things are being shown. Right? Because really, all this sows with things like that, with that like harp and things of questioning, all that does is brings about what? Confusion. And that's rightfully so, because we're in a time of the rulership of Babylon the Great. Now, if you really look for the clarity of the situation, you'd understand this is all of the Heavenly Father's will. Alright? They're doing as they're meant to do. But this is what's going on. I'm going to read this. It says, I'll read through it. 2nd Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. Alright? And that's what we ought to do. Being ordained, Lord, Lord, the will of the Lord to be, righteous prophets unto election. That's what we're doing. We're prophesying what? The words that the Heavenly Father has given unto us. And the word prophet, or the word prophet, means to say before. Alright? So we're basically saying the will of the Heavenly Father before it happens, because He has ordained everything to happen from the foundations. Alright? Which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. See? And cause them to be written in paper, and be for they are faithful and true. And that's why you have the Holy Bible. Alright? You have this book because it was the words that were written. Alright? Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So your faith is what's going to really allow you to get through these situations and maneuver. Alright? Because remember, faith, as the size as a grain of a mustard seed, shall move mountains, basically. Alright? So that's why you have the faith. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. And this is the point. Therefore, saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Alright? So let me read this other precept, because the Heavenly Father said He will hold His tongue no more concerning the wickedness. So this will show you how He speaks. So it's the book of Isaiah 26 and what was it, 24? Bear with me one moment. 26 and damn. One moment.
I got some.
Okay. I'll go ahead. Yeah. It's Isaiah 29 and 6. It says, Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and a flame of devouring fire. So that's how the Heavenly Father is showing His power upon the earth, by basically making these natural disasters happen. And that's the Heavenly Father visiting the earth. And that's him visiting the earth. What's He doing? He's not holding His peace. He's letting it be known. Right? And everyone in the world, everyone in their mother knows that everything that's going on right now it doesn't make sense, man. And yesterday I was out walking to meet a brother, and I was in the city centre, and it's like the party, you know, the life of the life of London right now, one of the main social points in the city. And I heard two individuals just talking and said, yeah, if Jesus could be coming back soon. Right, I can't remember for verbatim what he said, but he said like, yeah, Jesus, and I believe that, you know, and then Jesus will come back maybe in the next bit of time. And I think that's deep, man. Because, you know, going to link up with a brother, and that's what I'm hearing. Right? And this is a random individual on the street in a place where that's the last thing you would expect someone to say. Them niggas are doing drugs and looking for women. They ain't thinking about nothing serious, but the events that's happening upon the earth, if you're paying attention, are so pivotal that you have people talking that the Lord is going to come back very soon. Like, and that really blew my mind, because I thought, a nigga really just said that Jesus is coming. You know, because you look like a Asian brother, but he looked like a Jake. He had some life in him. But it just kind of blew me away, because like, people are really talking about the Lord coming back, man. So they're seeing what's going on, and they're just like, nah, this ain't right, man.
It's you know, it's a people can tell the air's changed, man.
Yeah.
It's a different time, and that's really what. That's the thing, because it's like going back. Brothers have been in the faith for, you know, a little span of time, so you can kind of tell from like earlier when brothers came in to now, it's different, man. Because even with like checking news, checking what's happening, like there'll be you know, periods of time where it's like you might have a thing happen here or there, but it's not really popping off like that. But it's been a non-stop barrage of back-to-back things popping off. Because even like seeing what was going on in Afghanistan, it's actually, bruv, it was like the space of less than a week. Man, we're just like, oh, they've conquered here, they've conquered here, they've conquered here, they've conquered here. Oh, they've come to the capital. Oh, the president's fled. Okay, they've taken the whole thing. They're not on the news making proclamations. I was like, bro, was the US even like there? Like, what's going on? Like, what even was the point? But that's why, now it's the US is looking lame. The US is looking ahead. Everyone's looking to capitalize on that. Let me get this. Ecclesiastes, no, Sirach 2, and 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside lest ye fall. Ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. Yeah, so that's you know, the times we're in. Because this is why it's like, faith is becoming a thing again. Because why? People are saying like, yo, shit's getting fucked. And it's, you know, it's funny as hell. Because they originally said like, oh, you know, a 2-week lockdown or something, or 1 month lockdown or whatever. And then the thing, you know, it'll all be over. And lo and behold, now it's like it's a year and change. Going on 2 years soon, and people are it's what do you call it, man? That's what has people just realizing, yo, this ain't changing. Because even I remember the start of 2020, I think that's when they had the wildfires in like Australia. And everyone was like, oh shit, it's fucked. Now you're just getting flooding everywhere. You know, landslides, earthquakes. These things are just becoming a normal. And it's all these things, hey, it's all building up. And it's setting the stage. Because it says it in Daniel. Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Yeah, that time of trouble that's never been around before, that time of Jacob's trouble. And that's going to be that mark, because you go into Revelation chapter 14. It says those that take it, they're gonna be perished, they're gonna be cast in the fire and judged, before the sight of the holy angels, man, along with Esau. They're gonna partake in that punishment. So that's the dividing line between those of the elect and those that aren't of the election, man. And that's what the battleground is. That's where it really is. It's amongst the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. The elect and the castaways, man. The guys that aren't gonna make it. Because this is the thing is Esau's trying to essentially substitute himself for the Most High. That's what his golden objective is. Then that's such as like what all this is that meat grinder by which he hopes to gain his desires, man. Everyone under him in complete subservience. It says what? And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Yeah, that's you're basically playing with whether you're gonna get rewarded or whether you're gonna be have your head down for a period of time, because that's really that's how cold it is. And that's the thing is this is gonna be intense, because it should already be clear as well. With just like I said, this this Max situation is a dry run. The guys that have jumped on it, they're still having to play the game of what's going down. They haven't been able to check out. They're still in. They're still in play. You just had, I think it was today, boosters were mandated. Boosters are now, officially being offered come September, they said. And in the US now, it's nursing home staff. And maybe there was another one. I think nursing home staff, and I think another set of people as well have to get the max. So it's slowly hemmed in, and it's gonna be retail, customer facing jobs, and the hospitals and civil servants where it starts. Then it'll just be spread over and standardized, because that's what
got a precept to back up everything you're saying. Habakkuk 2:5. Yea, also, because he transgressive by wine. This is talking about Esau, Edom, alright. He's got his spirit upside down up in his body, man. It says, yea, also because he transgressive by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth a home, who enlargeth his desirous death, alright. So this is the thing that he's doing, as the brother was mentioning. Basically, what's he doing? He ain't stopping, alright. It started with let's go into a lockdown for 2 weeks, and nigga, that was in March of 2020. Now we're in August of 2021, alright. And you got Australia in a totalitarian.
Yeah, them men are getting oppressed. Because they said, I think New Zealand as well said they had one case,
yeah,
and they've gone straight back into lockdown. Them man, and it's funny as well, because at the start, they were like the model. Because they were saying like, oh, they locked down straight away, and then they maintained it. Like, I think them man went lockdown maybe from February.
Yep.
But it was like, they locked down early, locked down the borders early, then locked down the people. And it's like, anytime they've opened up, it's been like, okay, there's like maybe 20 cases, they'll be like, okay, just lock the whole thing down. Them man, yeah, it's a mess. And it's like the police are really out there keeping track of people. Cause why? It's people. That's the thing, is now it's people have been lax enough to where they've accepted it. So it's just a matter of maintenance and then incremental increase. You
Yeah.
tell me yours. Oh, you got more?
I got more. It says, who enlargeth his desire is hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. And this man isn't satisfied. So you believe that you taking a vaccine and you can just, okay, life's back to normal now. This nigga ain't satisfied. This is just the start. He's just showing you like, okay, cool, I got that. Let me get a bit more. It isn't like, okay, I got what I wanted, let me leave. No, I got that. What else can I get?
And it's like, how easily did I get it?
Yep. And he finds pleasure in that. That, ooh, they gave it to me. What else can I get? And that's why it says this. It says, but gathereth, he says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And that's ultimately what he wants to do. He wants to heap unto himself all nations and all people, right under the Tower of Babel, the model of the Tower of Babel. But then, even once he's got them all, he's going to be satisfied that he has them, and he's going to destroy them. That's what he would do. And then guess what? He'd even destroy him. If he destroys all the people, then he'll start destroying himself. Right? More so than he's doing now. I'm saying it as if there was like the 12 families left. They'll just destroy each other.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's who Esau is. Like, you have to understand, this man is the devil. You're the devil. Now, that's what he is.
Okay. Let me finish this then. So Daniel 12:3, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Yeah, that's these things have been sealed. That's why people in the world, their knowledge has not been brought to them, man. That's the thing is this thing has been cut off from the vast majority of people's ears and eyes, man. They can't see it. They can read the book. That's the thing. Imagine how many billions of copies of the Bible are on, printed in phones, on Kindles, on iPads, and just like and not people are reading it. They might understand the the meaning of the words there, but it's not taking root because why? It's been sealed. That's the thing. It's actually crazy. You're just gonna have it out there. That's why it's what the words are written in dark sayings and proverbs. Because what it's not easily understood. It's something you can't easily get. So then that's why it's to vast majority of people. It's you're talking like it's you're talking in code. And that's why it's most people ain't gonna get it, man. It's only gonna be right until the end, man. Cause said what? Seal it until the cities be wasted without inhabitant. Waiting right till the end, that's when people are gonna get it. It's gonna be when Yahushua makes his return, because that's like the brother mentioned. You heard the guy as a spirit. Just heard a guy just talking about maybe Jesus coming. That's wild.
He weren't even saying, and that's why I'm saying I don't remember what it was verbatim. It's more or less like the conviction in his expression is like Jesus is coming kind of thing. Like he was determining a date of when the Lord can arrive, basically. He was convinced that the Lord's coming. I wanted to stop and talk to him, but I was on the way to meet a brother, so it's like I couldn't do that.
Okay.
But that's it, man.
That's Hey, now's the time where it's like the words done gone out as well.
Mm-hmm.
The words been out. So it's like that's the thing is there's hella people where they would have come up, they might have chatted, they might have been called, they might have not been called, and come to the camp. That's gonna be rattling about in their head.
Well, that's why it says as well that many shall be willing in the day of thy power. Because when the Lord reveals himself, they may have been sealed back then when they saw us at a certain time, but the time of the miracles or certain things happening is a time where it's the spark that their spirit needed to light them up, basically. So this is all the will of the Heavenly Father, because even I know, just to quickly say it, the thing that kind of catapulted me into the faith was not so much that, oh yeah, the world's gonna. I mean, there was an element of that, but it was more just like this world is fucking wicked, man, and there's got to be something better than this. So when a brother's showing you that, you're like, yo, I can get down with that. But now more so, it's like, yo, this shit is crazy. You know, like you're seeing that there's a big change, and you more or less have to. If you ain't got the truth, man, you're just out there.
Yeah, that's what it's like. People in the world, they're getting that spirit of fear, and that's what it said, holding their stomach like a woman with travail. Because that's a spirit, that's the energy of the people that you got outside nowadays. They're just on edge. They ain't checking the news because all they're seeing on there is hell. They're trying to distract themselves, man.
Got a precept. This is Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and are safe. And is safe, Salakia. So that's the point. Hey, right now, with all the things going on, the only way you're gonna be able to weather the storm is by the Heavenly Father providing a habitation of safety basically, and that's his name. Now, when you go to the book of Proverbs, when you go in the same book to chapter 30, what you find is it says that outlines all the great things that the Heavenly Father done, and then it asks the question of what is his name and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell, because it's a secret, alright? Going back to the law, when the covenant was established, Deuteronomy 29:29, it said, righteousness belongeth unto you, O Most High, but unto us, the secrets that are revealed, alright? And only those secrets that were revealed pertain to the prophets, alright? Let me quickly read Deuteronomy 29:29 because I butchered it and it made me feel kind of messed up. Deuteronomy 29:29, the secret things belong unto the Lord Yahweh, our power, and those things which are revealed belong unto us and our children and to our children forever, and we may do all the words of his law. And only that fell down upon the prophets of the Heavenly Father. That's why today we, starting with the lineage of High Priest of Abba Bivens, King Marshall, High Priest Ariah, High Priest Yaquab, High Priest Shah, Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ramla, so on and so forth. Yeah, that basically they have the secrets and they revealed it unto men that trickle down in rank. They have the understanding, alright, that pertains to this word, alright, and that's only gonna do what? Lord, the men of the elect are basically gonna be able to be saved because they have those secrets. Isaiah 33:6, it tells you, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and the strength of thy salvation, and that starts with the fear of the Lord, alright? You go saying? No. Oh yeah.
Let's see.
What's that?
Yeah, you go.
It's the book of Matthew 24:14, and it reads, oh no, not 24 and 14, 24 and 21. 24 and that's it. 24 and 13, alright? But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be. You know what? Let me read it a bit into it actually. So this is the book of Matthew 24:4. Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. Alright? And this is the main thing that we're in that time, man, where great deception is upon the earth. Pursuant to Revelations, the 20th chapter, where Satan was bound, that old serpent was bound for 1,000 years, but that he should be loosed for a little season and his wound healed. We're in the midst of that time, we're in that little season where he's been loosed to deceive the nations. Alright? And the main deception that he started with is the deception of the Heavenly Father. That's why the period when he came into power is known as the Renaissance period. Alright? Because that's known as a rebirth. And the first thing he did when he came into power, was basically defacing the true imagery of the Heavenly Father and His Son, and all the saints, alright, the glorified men of Yahweh Bar Shem El Shai Bar Shem Al Rakak Dash. He also defaced them as well, alright, and that was done to carry forth what, his deception. And ever since he's come into power, he's been perpetuating the deception. And right now we're in the midst of a great deception onto what the MOTB, that charagma, alright, which only if you take it, it says that you've been marked for judgment, alright, and that you belong unto him, alright. But if you have the other mark, which pertains to the mark of exemption, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to be exempt from judgment, alright.
That's why it's polarity. Two opposites, man.
Sirach 33:16. The Lord made to everything 2 and 2. That's why even the mark, and the funny thing is there's a middle ground, because it's like, just because you didn't take the mark of the beast, it don't mean you're the elect. Alright? Because you can have straight up Edomites who don't want to take the mark of the beast. I mean, MOT, the charagma. But guess what? They're still going to be judged because they're Edomites, alright? Where it's all about getting that mark of exemption, alright? The understanding of the Heavenly Father. Sighing, and it comes about from what? Sighing and crying for all the abominations done in the midst thereof. Just like, and it's funny because this even trickles down to, just like the MOTB, the charagma, has a image. It's preceded by what? Image. And the image is like a lifestyle, a culture, so to speak. That basically, if you follow in line with that culture, if you hold to the words of the beast and do everything he says, only you're going to take that MOTB. Because why? You're going to feel very comfortable with everything he's saying to you. But at the same time, for you to get the mark of exemption, there's a culture that you have to be following as well. It has to be that you are not fucking comfortable in this place. You're sighing and crying for the abominations that's done in the midst of it. And as it tells you in the book of Proverbs, it tells you the way of the wicked is an abomination unto the righteous. Right? Lucy paraphrasing.
It's the same other way back. That's why, that's the thing. This is what what we're doing, in the spirit of righteousness. Esau's doing in the spirit of wickedness, man. Mm-hmm. That's why it says we're battling against spiritual wickedness in high places. These elites, they're basically all that's the battlefield. And that's why it's like, the time of Jacob's trouble, that's when everything gets intensified and it's basically made clear. Who's basically going to be drawn through that fire and purified, have their impurities removed and are perfected. And those who want, those who burn up, those who jump out the fire and take, the out. And that's where it comes down to, integrity. And really it's down to that that predestination, that pre-appointment of being among that number. Because it's really a matter of mercy. The time we're going into is where, without the aid of Yahweh, like the brother mentioned earlier, Proverbs 18 and 10, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. He that runneth into it is safe. That if you don't have that covering, that mercy, then there's no way you're gonna make it through. And that's why it's like that middle ground. They're gonna get chewed up.
Because that's basically embodying Revelation, the 3rd chapter. I'd rather you be hot or cold. Therefore, because thou art lukewarm, I'll spew you out of my mouth. Yeah. So that middle ground is being lukewarm. You haven't decided what side you stand on. And a lot of people right now with this Maxine, they're just on middle ground. They're waiting for
it to get to the point where they're forced to.
Yeah.
And then
they know something ain't right. That's why they ain't doing it. But they ain't taking
really
a standpoint of like, I ain't fucking with it at all.
Yeah. Which is why that means you just you're ready to fold at any point.
A double-minded man is unstable in all these ways. I got a quick one, and I'll get back to what I was reading. Or if you got anything, you can bring it out. Proverbs 29 and 27. An unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. So as I was saying before, so ultimately with the righteous mark of exemption, what happens is that you adhere to the customs of righteousness. You see all the madness that's going on in this earth,
the fact that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, alright? And you feel that this ain't right in your spirit. And guess what? That then spurs you to be like, man, fuck, only find the faith. Because if you have that, the angel going through the midst of the city, second, and that happened at that time, but it also is happening now through spirit. Because you got Song of Solomon, Isaiah 30:20, by hearing a word and saying to you that this is the way, walk ye in it, and people are taking heed to it. Why do they take heed? Because this place it rubs them the wrong way, man. So they seek for the truth, and that's because ultimately them being delivered is because they're the elect, alright? And we believe we're of the elect as well. That's why we do this work, alright? And hopefully we'll be rewarded for all these work. That's why I said give all diligence and make it calling and election sure.
Yeah, it's about finishing the race.
Yeah.
Because that's the nature of what it is. It's an endurance race. You know, to make hard, you gotta make yourself hard against everything that's gonna try and cast you out. And that's why you have, you know, parable of the sower. You know, there's myriad means by which you can get drawn out of or cast out of the truth, man. And that's why it's a matter of you putting in the diligence to maintain yourself, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, as building up them spiritual treasures, because it's all the work that you're putting in. Because this is one world, and what's getting ready to come in is a complete new world. That's the thing. It's like when you deal with these kingdoms that are heathen, these have all been. It's different parts of that statue. They've all essentially just been built off one another. But then what? When you get to the 10 toes, then afterwards what? Of iron and miry clay. Then you have the stone that just comes and duns the whole statue.
Yeah, I was shy.
And then from there it becomes what? I was going to say a missile. A mountain. It becomes a mountain. And then that's the everlasting kingdom. And that's how it's going to be a whole new way of existing, man. And that's why it's what, you know, what we're working for. It's not something that can be seen now. That's where the faith comes in. The evidence of things not seen. Because it's a matter of what we're working, we're striving for something that, yeah, you can't see evidence other than the brothers out there all doing the work, all doing the diligence all over the earth. It's not and the prophecies being fulfilled. It's something where if you were to just say, oh, where's the kingdom of heaven? You can't just point to a place and say, oh, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's what's gonna, you know, in the time to come, that's what it's gonna be like, man. So you go to Isaiah 60, you're gonna have the heathens bringing in all their goods, bringing all their wealth to Jerusalem and bringing it to Israel and building them up, man. So what? Several men of continual employment getting slash Revelation 2:25, you know, having power over the nations to bash them over the head and you know, give them work to do. That's where these things are going to be fulfilled. Because on this side, it's even if you get people bowing down, it's still Esau's system, man. Esau's got everything's unlocked by Esau. That's all going to come to an end. You got more?
No.
I got. So Isaiah 13 and 11, and it says, and I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of a place, in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. Yeah, that's all that's gonna come is you know, the earth is gonna remove out of a place. the world map ain't even gonna be looking the same. And that's how the peak is gonna get. It's gonna be a complete reordering.
Just like how you had the Pangea during the time of Moses and everything was shifted. That's the same thing you're gonna have in this time period we're going into, man.
And it says what? Bring low Lelo the haughty, and that's Esau. Esau is that main haughty one that's holding himself in esteem. All that's the thing is it's going to be brought to the bottom, because what is it is it Ecclesiastes? I've seen servants on horses, and that's really Esau. Esau's that servant on a horse. He's been granted power. He's been granted the rule, but he's still a low being, man. That's why everything's a mess. His whole way of managing and dealing with things. This guy is bringing nothing but death and destruction, man, and waste. Every possible facet of the planet is being decayed and destroyed. Because why? That's the man we're dealing with. That's why a cleansing's needed. Everything needs to get reset. You guys think about running off to fucking space to try and escape. No, that's the joke. Like, the guy has basically dropped everyone else in it, and he's just like, oh, I'm just gonna fuck off. And it shall be as a chase roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Yeah, it's gonna be a thing. That's the thing is, with time of Jacob's trouble, it's anyone that's basically getting in bed with Esau, they're gonna be